And we should be live now. It always takes the stream a second to actually show up. But you should be live for lovely audiences.
I see the stream now. So good afternoon, this is Sadie.
And Julius.
And of course we are from Epic Lion Saplings, and we are doing our 30 years of glorious Final Fantasy playthrough. Chibi's got the controls today, I'm monitoring the chat. And yeah, questions, comments, concerns, bring them. We're looking forward to a good run today. So where did we leave off?
We left off at Awakening the Prince, and then going to loot at least a little bit of the locked doors that we couldn't get into before.
Absolutely, because when you get a pirate ship, arg, from a pirate king, you have to go looting for booty, right, Chips?
Yes, and we have a couple options. Do we want to go back to the Marsh Cave and a couple of the other places over there that we couldn't get stuff in because it was locked with the mystic key, or do we just want to continue on with the plot? Either works.
Well, do we need the things in those caves to continue on with the plot? If so, then that gives us an answer.
Plot, no. Money for selling stuff we can't use? Yes.
Then I say we shake our gill makers, run over, grab the stuff, loot it all. You know, take it all, give none of it back.
Because no, we got ambushed by things that we can kill easily now.
Well, yeah. Sahagin and Big Eyes. So we still have Sahagin all the way now in Final Fantasy XIV. And they don't look a whole lot different. Like the same base shape is still there.
Except in 14, most of them are either blue or off to the blue.
But that same sort of lizard man swamp thing is still...
It's still the most common of looks, which I do like. Now, we do have pirates of sorts. They don't look exactly like this in 14, because most of them use either axes or... I think most of them use axes, don't they?
But and some do have pistols, and pirates actually got pistols before the players did. Little muddled up on how that worked.
I don't know. It's just one of those that's like, okay then.
And we currently have a handful of watchers, so good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I have to say, the same character model, different coloring really brings me back to those early Final Fantasies, though.
Yeah.
Where every zone, oh, this is all the yellow ones, and they're weak to this, and here's all the blue ones, they're weak to that. And, you know me, I like my colors, and I like them in order. Fun fact, Sadie eats her M&Ms in sets of 3 in rainbow order, starting with red. And I actually lay them all out and put them... It's my own OCD thing. M&Ms have to be eaten in color order. There's no difference in taste, but I have to eat them in rainbow order. It's probably a mental disease. I'm just saying. So, I'm dearly beloved on those color coding specific... Back when things meant things, man. Although now, you know...
We still technically have, you know, monsters that are color-coded in 14.
Yeah, but it doesn't, like, You don't look at the red one and go, oh, I'm gonna cast water on you because you're obviously a fire monster. And, like, that elemental wheel, man, you memorize that thing. I can explain the difference between a 6-spoke with a light and dark variation or an 8-spoke wheel. Like, that was need-to-know knowledge back in the day. At least I start with the best color with my M&Ms. Yeah, jelly beans, too. Oh my gosh, I have jelly bean issues. Hey, Chibi, do you want to share jelly beans with me ever again?
As long as I get more than orange occasionally, sure.
See? I eat my jelly beans a flavor at a time. So, last year, we got a big old thing of like the Starburst flavored rainbow jelly beans, and I ate everything but the orange and lemon because those are my 2 least favorite flavors. So, and Chibi like sat down and he had an entire bucket of orange because I ate all the other flavors and left him with orange.
And here we have me getting lost because, hey.
If it makes you feel better, I also eat all the M&Ms out of the trail mix and leave everybody else the raisins.
Yeah, I usually don't get trail mix just because of the raisins. I don't really like raisins all that much anymore.
Josh is volunteering to eat the orange jelly beans. Have at, man. I used to have... So, when I grew up, my cousin lived down the street, and she liked the citrus flavors, the orange and the lemon. So we would get 2 bags of, like, Skittles, drop them on the tray between, and we'd eat the ones the other one didn't like. She also liked soggy french fries. You know, like, not the little crispy ones, but the soft ones. She would like the soft, flexible, overcooked french fries. Those were her favorite. So we'd get 2 packs of fries. I'd eat all the crispy little end pieces, and she'd go for all the soggy middles. What I'm saying is, find a friend who likes their french fries exactly opposite you, and just buy 2 packs of fries. Everybody gets what they want. Why do all of our conversations end up with food in like the first 2 minutes?
Because Josh.
Blame Josh, I like that. But yeah. I eat the M&Ms out of your trail mix. I eat the good jelly beans out of your jelly beans. And gosh help you, if you have Starburst, I'm leaving you all the yellows. M&Ms. And then, oh my gosh, a couple years ago they started selling Jelly Bellies by independent flavors. So if you wanted like 5, pounds of watermelon, you could get 5 pounds of watermelon. That is a design plan that is like sings to my soul, man. So now that everyone knows I'm food obsessed, back to the game, we have mummies. No daddies, just mummies.
Of course, they're undead, so they're weak to fire and slowly.
Do you ever find it slightly amusing that you're essentially walking around cremating people in these parts?
Nah.
So, we had the discussion before that the guy who's actually richest in the video game is the one that makes the clay pots after you smash them all.
Yeah.
And I think here, like, amazing lack of undertakers with all the undead just walking around. Like, clean up after yourself, people, that's what I'm saying. I do absolutely adore the giant bubble-headed sprite you've got going on there.
Yep.
Doesn't it simply...
We gotta upgrade to Chibi's armor, and now Josh has a staff that he can smack people over the head with.
That's great. Let's go, Arm and Josh. Black mages, they need their, blunt instruments of head concussions. I do love that little victory dance. I will not even lie. First time I played it and beat the final boss, I actually got up and did that little victory dance.
To be fair, even now, the final boss of this game is still slightly difficult. if I remember its AI rotations correctly.
Well, since you're the one playing the game, you better remember the AI rotations, because I'm at the point of hit it with stick.
Because it's either every 4th attack or every 8th attack. He would cast Cure 4 on himself.
Self-healing mobs. Those are some of my least favorite kinds. We have one currently in Final Fantasy XIV that actually has two re-raises on themselves. So not only must you must kill it again, and then kill it one more time for good measure. And that's sort of an especially jerk move there, to put re-raise on bosses.
But to be fair, it's not like they have the same mechanics between each raise. Their mechanics change up between the two. Well, 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's sort of like the old, bosses that would change what their elemental weakness was, so I hope you're paying attention. And I know we've got some of that to come, too. So, this is Marsh Cave, right?
Yeah, we're back visiting the Marsh Cave for the sealed treasure. I just have to remember where it is.
It is hiding very, very well.
Now that we have a couple levels underneath our belts and much better equipment and spells, at least the early floor to this place is
not so bad.
Not so bad.
I cannot get over how absolutely bizarre those green slime character models are. Like, I've gotten used to the Jello mold slimes, but the sort of melted Slimer the Ghost, I'm not quite there yet, you know? I'm not sure what
I'm glad they used the Final Fantasy IV slime monsters for the base of, like, every other slime monster in, later Final Fantasy games.
Yep. Now, the crawler design for the, worms has really changed a bit, too. And, not mad at it, just... It's interesting to see which designs they massively revamp, and which ones they completely, just sort of evolved. The skeletons are still more or less, skeleton with some light armor and usually a big sword. But the crawlers look more like a snail in this version, like a slug with ice storms. Gargoyles look totally different. I'm not even sure. I see that it says gargoyle, but it's like...
It's not gargoyle.
Weird slime.
First couple Final Fantasy games have weird as frick naming conventions.
Mm-hmm. It looks like Gonzo, the Muppet Gonzo. Grew bat wings and a beak. Remember how Gonzo was all about his chicken Camilla? Are these Gonzo and Camilla's weird spawn? Like, did Gonzo and Camilla hatch some sort of weird hybrid baby?
I did not need to know that.
I'm giving you nightmare fuel, aren't I?
Thanks, Sadie.
You're welcome. Just when you thought it was safe to watch the Muppets, Sadie has a thought.
I wasn't too impressed with their recent attempt at bringing back the Muppets for, the TV.
I love the Muppets. I do.
But the movie, at least
the movie.
The one that came out in like 2013. I haven't seen the second one.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second one. The 2013 was a great nod back to what made it so adorable. At least I thought.
Yep. And of course, the original Muppet Show.
Mm-hmm.
I believe on ABC, at least around here, they had both the Muppet Show and then Whose Line Is It Anyway after it. Before
That's
or
an interesting.
after. So you would get your silly, adorable funny, and then you would get your funny that even if
You
you
don't want to
didn't
have to
get even
explain
if
to
you
your
didn't
kid.
get all the jokes then, a lot of them were still funny.
See, Whose Line Is It Anyways is one of those comedy shows that I really hope that the jokes go over the kid's head, that they don't want me to explain it, because they're all dirty.
Yeah. I think it's 4-3 that has the Mystic.
That sounds right.
Ah, yes, Final Fantasy 1, where they didn't have mini-maps. Which, I'm not exactly upset over that.
Oh, I am. I'm terrible with, maps to begin with, but you know what's worse than having a tiny, badly made map? Having no map. The lack of map drove me nuts. Plus, if you notice, so many of these graphics are basically repeats that it's not an easy thing to memorize where you're at, because floor 2 and floor 3 are almost identical. Floor 4 has the same architecture. So you can just loop around 20 times. And there we go, more weird slime melting with fire. Interesting fun fact, you can turn Jello back into a liquid using a microwave.
Of course.
Ew, that's worse. That is worse. I thought the green slimes were bad. The gray ooze, which is technically blue, is worse. God, you know it's nightmare fuel when the gargoyle is a nice change of pace on character models.
I'm just gonna use the heal spell a couple of times, because that's what it's there for.
Absolutely. And here we have a fine assortment of bloodbones and skeletons.
Is there any Final Fantasy that you're not really looking forward to even commenting on?
Trying to get rid of me already?
No.
No, I have ones that... Okay, so I have ones that I can nitpick on. I have parts of ones that I did not care for. I did not love the materia system in 7. I know for a lot of people, 7 is their absolute favorite. The materia system drove me nuts. 8 with the spell draws also drove me absolutely nuts. Ooh, do you have a bat blocking your way there?
I have a bat blocking my way there. It's a common occurrence in this game.
So yeah, those were... But trying to think back here...
But the story of 7 and 8 weren't too terrible.
Yes, but that was, sort of the thing was, I realized that after a certain point I was playing it to get to the cutscenes. And this was before YouTube, where you could just dial up all the cutscenes, and Let's Play, watching somebody else play wasn't really a thing unless you got your friend to actually in your living room to play it while you were, Which I have to admit, some of them I have seen played more than actually played myself. Ooh, Pisco Demon. And yet again, another mob that we still have with us in later Final Fantasies. With a pretty similar model. I mean, obviously, a few more pixels in it now, but they're squid face, casters, and dresses. That's their thing, man. But no, I think story-wise, they've all been pretty good. I will say that Final Fantasy X had some really terrible voice acting. And that was just
talking about the laughing scene or just in general?
in general, but that laughing scene is an excellent example of what I mean when I say terrible voice acting. Because it was that bad. And I know they're like, oh, it was supposed to be awkward. No, this is...
I can agree with you. There was some places where the voice acting could have been better.
So, that one, yeah. You know, I have to admit, I played 12. And I remember liking it when it came out. But if you press me for details on the story, I'm sort of shrugging. I remember that the guy who it was presumably the main character really wasn't the main character, but they didn't want to make the girl the main character. And I think that was a loss. I think we get something very similar with Final Fantasy 13, where Lightning is more or less the main character, but then you still have way more hope than anyone needed. And actually I started replaying 13 the other day just to sort of a refresher on how the battle system went. And it's the same thing every time Hope talks, you're just like, oh god, please stop. But I think all of it's still valuable, because all of it still sets up where we are today with the franchise.
Like, you see the basics of the other Final Fantasy games in Final Fantasy 1. And then they tried to change and build on it in Final Fantasy 2, but they, got rid of actual levels and went with physical levels.
Yep.
So
But we have
like
something
14 did, 1.0 did.
I mean, something sort of like that now, where gear set levels don't match the number of levels you've got. Like, where we're at now in 14, my gear set level is something like 4 times what my actual numerical level is. Probably, And while that's fine and all, and yes, it does get exponentially more powerful, for especially new players, trying to explain that, yes, you're level this, but you're not even halfway through because you hit max level, but you still need to now go Easter egg hunting and trick-or-treating all the dungeons 20 times to get the stuff you need. So, sort of it's everything comes around again. And I think we see the beginnings of that in 2. With the, here's our alternative leveling system that you must pay attention to too. We get that later in some of the leveling up of materials to get more powerful rather than, going to the spell shop. So, but I like that the series takes risks. That's a good thing.
I even like that they had baby's first RPG with Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. They simplified the formula, but you still saw, what made Final Fantasy a Final Fantasy game. You still had the crystals. You still had some of the enemies that shows up in earlier Final Fantasy games. You have the same spells, named the same.
I saw a lot of that with Chocobo's Dungeon too, where it's, it's a very, your first dungeon crawler game. And it was amazing. I love that game. But when, little ones aren't quite ready for the strategizing an RPG does, by gosh, Chocobo's Dungeon, very simple. Walk up, kick the guy, press her.
Yeah.
And that is, one of those things that Square does very well. I also do think that the Kingdom Hearts series is a nice way to sort of bridge into RPGs without getting too nuts and boltsy into it yet.
Yeah. I still need to pick up the second game in the HD remix, you know. So I actually have it, because the quality of life changes they made from the original to the, HD re-release is worth the rebuying it for $20. Which, at this point, isn't too bad. Considering you get, like, 3 times the game you did originally.
And there I go, typoing in chat, like they do.
I don't know what a Discon Inferno is, but you do you.
Dude, I am doing you. Oh my, that doesn't sound at all right, does it? So that is one of the things of live streaming, is that we can't hit the oopsie button, go back and edit. You are getting my typos, Chibi saying occasionally derpy things, me saying even more derpy things. So yeah, this is going raw. And look, back into more color-coded mobs. The difference between a tarantula and a black widow is apparently coloring. I'm pretty sure it's never in the history of, life worked that way, though. Although, to be fair, if I was naming it, it would be Big Hairy Spider and Nope. So...
Oh look, we have our first mobs that regen HP. How much do they regen? 3. They regen 3 HP per round.
And I'd love to know the logic of making them regen. Because I could see, like, we're in the middle of a sunny day. I could see as a, where, if it regened at night under a moon or something, sure, that would make sense. And I know we don't have night or day cycles for quite some time, but in theory.
The only thing that really influenced the gameplay with day, night, or cycles of the moon was Final Fantasy IV to the After Years, where certain phases of the moon would affect how well, certain things did.
We had day-night cycles in Final Fantasy XI, and they would affect the monsters specifically. Sometimes monsters would be peaceful during the day, but not at night, the same monsters. And then after the equivalent of 8 p.m. To 6 a.m., so during the darkest, portion of the night, we would get all of the undead. So right smack dab at 8, all of these ghosts and skeletons would all spawn. And so depending on where you were camping, you might have had to back, an extra half camping space in to avoid those things arguing you. Most of them also would argo low hit points. So if your tank suddenly went red because, he overpulled and got an extra monster, now you've got a skelly that's just trying to eat your entire party and has AoEs.
See, yeah, that would be kind of cool in 14. However, we've seen how well making certain mobs very, very uncommon it does. See, doing those stupid anima books back in 2.0.
Yeah, there's only 6 of this monster on the entire world map. Go get 10 of them with everyone else.
Oh yes, and also there's these uncommon fates that you need to do. Good luck, everybody.
You just know at some point somebody was back there twirling an evil villain mustache planning that out.
But clearly, SC got their crap together.
I do appreciate that.
It seems like that's a lot of their quote unquote screw ups. They go back and fix them later on.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you should. Better that than, There's something to be said for playing, an old broken game and saying, well, I'm playing the original version. But at the same time, a lot of time people will be like, well, I suffered through that bad version, so you should too. If it's one thing if they honestly intended for, bad mechanics to be in there, but a lot of times, that's unintended consequences. I don't see a problem cleaning up, an oopsie if you make an oopsie. I I mean, that's like cooking dinner and realizing, halfway through that, oops, I forgot to put the salt in. Let me grab the shaker. We're going to add it on, top now. It's not exactly right, but it's fixed-ish. So, I don't know. I'm sort of divided there. I think that if it's just simply bugs getting ironed out, sure. If it's, hey, we realize that, compared to everything else we've done, this game is extra short, and here's a couple bonus dungeons for buying the remake, okay, that's fine. I just don't think people should have to play bad games, or games that are, clearly broken.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved the original Final Fantasy on the NES. But half the stuff doesn't work. Like the various, this weapon does better against X.
That doesn't actually do it?
That doesn't actually do it.
I figure if they took the time to specifically write that this, slingshot does better against backward flying aliens or what have you, then it better actually, do better than against backward flying aliens. Also, we are in the dwarf mountain.
Yep, technically this would be where we would figure out that the crystal eye, who's still the actual eye and what it does. However, we didn't venture over here. Which I kind of like that if you did, you got hints as to where to go.
Apparently, dwarves are all Scottish. So are ogres, according to Shrek, so really, twofer.
And we have a quest for later on. And a man type. We'll have to keep our eyes out.
Makes sense. Gonna make us a magical sword, eh? And they're talking, of course, about the earth starting to rot, which we later have, that thought comes back around with Terraria as well.
Yeah. Well, Terraria was influenced by a lot of the older RPGs, too.
Yep.
And we meet the dwarf Nurik. And he wants the TNT, or in this translation, the nitro powder. And then we get a cutscene. I don't think we should be following him. Honestly, I don't think we should be this close to the explosion.
Does this seem less than safe to you? Because, Spidey seems...
Yeah, the NPCs and our player characters, get out of the way, but... now we have the entire world, for the most part, opened up to us. With this,
There's that whirlpool.
I wonder what's in there. We'll just have to find out.
I wonder what Bob Ross would say to us just straight up blowing up the world. Like, there are things you cannot fix by sticking a happy little squirrel in a bush, and right there, we got it.
And now we are looting the Dwarven Kingdom.
That's right. Thank you, Mr. Dwarf, for helping solve my problems. I'm going to steal all your stuff now, okay? Does it ever come to your mind that you're basically just a giant klepto? We've had this conversation before, like, who, tiptoes around the world leaving stuff in random boxes for you to find? But on the other hand, dude, they just, like, helped you out, invited you into their home, and you're like, I'm just gonna help myself to all the stuff that you locked away from visitors. Okay, bye, thanks. Like, a little bit more reality, and they would be behind you like the cops in Grand Theft Auto. Just saying. Not quite sure about that realism there, Keaton. And back to a bunch of purple mobs.
At which point we can now just sort of stab without worrying about dying. We're just gonna save because we don't want to lose our progress, and well, you guys are seeing this live and then having to go through all this again. I think people would get bored.
Yeah, and that's so early Final Fantasies. There was a fair amount of grindy bits, which I find interesting because, like, one of the main complaints people have about the modern state of RPGs, and certainly MMORPGs, is that time sinks are built in. You can have your super ultra mega sword, but you're gonna have to invest serious time for it. You can have your super ultra armor, but you're gonna invest that time in it. But early RPGs, that's a whole thing too, where you would have to spend all of that time running around, getting up your 50 extra coin for this, that, and the other. And that was a shrine to the love of man and mermaids. Does Ariel know about this place? The town of Melmond, definitely less posh than the other places we've been.
Now I'm divided if I want to pick up life or heal. I mean, life comes in handy, sure, but unlike the original, we have Phoenix Stones.
True.
I think slow would be something we need to pick up.
Slow sounds like that would be handy. Just saying. The ability to
insta-kill moves. How do we feel about insta-kill moves?
Insta-kill moves can be handy, especially when you get, 20 mobs showing up that you could kill in a second, but you don't want to go through all of the fights. Honestly, I think it's a little cheaty, but presuming that they take level or something into account, that can make some of the more grindy moments go by much faster.
And throw our inventory up a little bit. some of this stuff that we can't equip or is no longer useful. Because we don't need a leather armor or an iron armor anymore.
This is true. Now, thinking back, I don't think we pick up, like, our starting 4 are our 4 the whole run through here, right? We don't get more characters to swap in.
Correct.
And I think it works the same way in 2. Is 3 the first one where we start swapping out people? I know by 4 we definitely...
we start swapping out people here and there.
Okay.
Do we have an item shop in here? I don't think we do. We don't have enough for the knight armor. But I think we should pick up another silver armlet for Josh there. Because as we know, having a better defense on our mages is
always good.
Yep.
I mean, if you're a mage, basically you're squishy. You know, and easy to poke to begin with. And so the idea is to not be killed by everything that comes around simply because it comes around.
Yeah.
I say this as someone who plays mages pretty much, you know, as first preference in every game. I'm either mage or ranged.
Well, we decided if we wanted to life or not. Might pick it up later. But for now, inn. We should sleep at the inn and then go adventuring.
Mm-hmm. Well, as Granny used to say, life is full of choices. To be fair, my grandmother had 12, that's a full dozen, children. The fact that that woman could string a sentence together coherently and not kill people is something I'm immensely, immensely jealous of. Now, to be fair, she did not remember anyone's name. She would, like, start at the oldest, point at you with that little shaky finger, and start at the oldest, and she would go down every single name of every child, and sometimes the dog. Just pointing at you, and you better know that whoever's name she stops on, that's fine. That is your name right now. You just say yes, and you go about it, doing whatever she tells you to. I've answered to the dog's name probably more than my own name.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, my grandmother wasn't insane. Fair enough.
Let's see if this insta-kill move actually works.
Well, if it doesn't, it'll be an insta-disappointment, right?
Killed all but one. Now we're
That
gonna
is
start exploring the main map. Well, we're exploring. And we see a cave.
Well, of course we do. I love how all the caves look like little doggy doors. Josh points out there's a whole lot of derping going on. Fair enough, there often is.
But you never know with this game and if they're gonna hide things, you know, off the beaten path in town, but sometimes you just can't get where you're going.
Is that Chibi speak for say he can't read a map and isn't giving me good directions? Because I think it might be.
No, it's Chibi can't read a map.
And that is why road trips are terrible ideas. That plus, I'll make you stop at every bathroom while eating your jelly beans and M&M's out your trail mix. Oh, I'm terrible to share beef jerky with too.
Well, we can't do much in the giant's cave other than get attacked by wolves.
I like how the giant looks like he's doing the Running Man. You're probably not even old enough to remember that dance, but trust me, it's pretty spot on.
There's Spyra, which will probably kill them all.
There needs to be a ROM hack where instead of running forward, the flea has you moonwalk out like Michael Jackson. It seems like a thing to do. You just reverse the animation they use now. But I think that would be fun. And why do the ogres all have mullets? Have you noticed that they all have like MacGyver mullets of the 80s?
Well, I'm not the one that decided to give them all mullets.
Fair enough. I'm not saying you did it personally. I'm just saying mullets. And plenty of anacondas here.
But no buns.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about Sir Mike's lot too. But now you've got none. I like how essentially you're like, look at my new spell, it's Scourge. Now, do you find that in video games you find one or two favorite spells and you just, rely on those?
Sometimes, yeah.
Because I have to admit, at a certain point, I'm just like, lightning's the strongest spell I've got, so here's a bolt of lightning, and here's a bolt of lightning, and here's some thunder minions.
That's why I'm throwing off some fires here.
Yeah, I know. I see that you're, trying to still put variety in, which is great. Here's Cobra. They're clearly looking for G.I. Joe.
I mean, there's no sense in actually casting haste and temper on my warrior just yet, because
The fights will be over by the time, he comes back around.
yeah.
It occurs to me how much Indiana Jones would hate this amount of snakes. Because this game came out in 1987. Yes, it did. Wait. 1987. Chibi, didn't you come out in 1987?
Yes.
Damn, I'm old.
You have Josh to blame for that one.
I just realized that you and Final Fantasy are the same age. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go knit on the front porch in a rocker now. Dang. That is, yeah, no, he is right. This game, 1987. I'm so old, video games didn't even have color. Dang. But yeah, now I feel slightly derpy. I've been like, yep, 30 years Final Fantasy. We haven't even had 30 years of Chibi yet.
Final Fantasy came out, I believe December, 87.
Well, yeah, gotta make those Christmas sales. Alright, so we are now featuring Chibi playing games older than he is that I remember their release. Fabulous. Whoa, look at those hill gigas. I think this is the first time we've seen that particular model. What are they doing? Are they trying to jump? Float like a genie? Does Schwarzenegger know that they stole his kneecaps for this model? So many questions, no good answers. But yeah, that's like supervillain action pose right there. I'm a little confused by what's going on.
There's our key items.
Key items are important.
Key items used to be stored in your inventory back on the NES version.
Yep, which is pretty much never a good idea because that means that you can drop them, lose them, misplace them, sell them. All those terrible things you don't want to do as a key item. And I swear, these lizards look more and more like an alien every time we fight them. Like, this is Mardi Gras, drank way too much going back to the home planet lizard. I'm still not sure what's up with that Giga's character model.
Me neither. Oh my god, this encounter rate.
It wants to make sure you know that they're there. I mean, you move like half the square, what are you complaining about? Alright, the game officially does not want you going any further. You moved 1/8 of an inch. Here's another Gigas. So, do we say Gigas, please, or does that, get us hate mail? Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing at, would you like some Pokemon Repel? See if we can put some in here? You are not getting, out of this dungeon without apparently seeing every single monster they bothered to so lovingly code into these encounters. So, 1987. Other things that happened in 1987. Sadie turned 10. I went to 4th grade.
Older than both Final Fantasy and Star Trek The Next Generation.
Barely. But yeah, that is the thing, man. See, Lizard looks worse with the green tongue because it looks like it's actually actively throwing up on the floor with that green tongue. Next time one's on the screen, look at that lizard's tongue and think way too much beer the night before, and you pretty much get, this particular unfortunate character choice.
Eventually, we will get
to make an actual turn in this room.
I haven't seen encounter rates this bad since one time in Pokemon where every tile decided to give me an encounter.
I'm not saying it hates you, I'm just saying it's not letting you out.
This is actually programmed this way.
It is programmed to force you to level up right about here?
Yeah.
Well, then in that case, it's doing a fabulous job of it. I'm still slightly confused by that Giga pose though. Like that artwork is not getting better. And a whole lot of fire going on. It is interesting, you know, like how completely out of proportion some of these animations are. You cast Fire Ega, it hits everyone, which is fine, but then you get this miniature mushroom cloud dome thing that apparently is a bubble that stops right there. Oh wow, you actually got to move.
Yeah,
I'm
I
kind of
actually
impressed
got
that
to move.
Yeah. I'm kind of impressed that it let you go outside, because I didn't think it was going to.
Alright, and now it is time for a fun fact. In the original game of this, in the original edition of this, tents and cottages, which I believe were called houses in the original, would in fact restore your HP and MP. It would also save your game. Sounds good so far, right?
Sounds darn handy.
Can you guess when this HP and MP restoration happened?
I would guess overnight.
After the game is saved.
Aha! So if you didn't remember, oh yeah, I see.
So you would, load up your save, and you would think, yeah, I'm full on HP and, well, spell charges. Nope. That's right, we were already up here, but at least we managed to take more than a step.
This is true. Also, Minotaurs. Those will be coming back in Final Fantasy in later versions as well. I think that's the first time we've seen them on screen.
Yep. I have my handy dandy cat. Choose to sort of beam the cat.
Aha! Does it come with snuggles and purrs?
Yes. However, right now he's just sort of sitting on my desk, grooming himself and being kind of adorable. And we are on floor, well, basement 2 of the Earth Cavern.
Cavern Earth B2. And again, the Minotaurs with the overly buff 1980s Schwarzenegger physiques.
That was the thing in a lot of, look at me, I'm supposed to be tough.
It is, but when you look artistically at that shoulder to waist ratio, that Minotaur has been in a corset. These are cross-dressing Minotaur. These are Otars. Like, when you look at that shoulder to waist and then back up to the thighs, biologically impossible. And I'm saying that knowing that I'm talking about fictional creatures. But, yeah. I remember some of the later ones, instead of 6-packs, they had like 12 packs of abs. So, yeah, the art style gets a wee bit silly as we go on. Things get more and more overly buff.
Okay, that is good to know. If the two mages focus their attacks, they can take out a Cobra.
They're a nice basic bop you on the head attack.
Yeah. There's nothing down here other than gargoyles and disappointment.
Nothing down here but gargoyles and disappointment. Did you find old copies of the Disney afternoon shows? which I think also came out about this time.
Yeah, I think this is when the Disney afternoon sort of took off. Was the late 1980s. Which I am still looking forward to,
The new DuckTales.
The new DuckTales cartoon. I mean, it's a shame that they're not getting old voice actors back, but some of them
I think the original Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either
on to his final.
I'm just gonna save here, just in case one of those treasure chests are trapped.
The stream had a hiccup there.